Hello, it's Annette again. How are you? Welcome to Tales of Repetition Compulsion 20. Tales of Repetition Compulsion is a series where I show how a toxic childhood follows us into every aspect of our adult lives. I do this by using real-life stories, or tales, in order to make the concept relatable and easy to understand. Before I start today's tale, I just want to say that since this is a relatively new channel, for some new viewers, I'd like to briefly explain the two main concepts that I talk about on this channel. And they are the 6 bad messages and repetition compulsion. For my subscribers, if you already know about these concepts from my other videos, I do apologize for the repetition. But if you like, you can skip ahead now to 6 minutes 23 seconds. This is where I start to tell today's tale. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Did you have a difficult childhood? In your adult life, do you find you keep getting into toxic and maybe even abusive situations? And are you tired of living this way? If you answered yes to these questions, then this channel may help you. There was a time when I answered yes to these questions, but I managed to find a better way to live, as I managed to stop my toxic childhood controlling my adult life. And how did I do this? Well, initially it was with the help of a therapist called Pat O'Connor. I was in my 40s when I first started working with Pat. And when I met him, oh God, I remember it so well, I was so worn out, as my personal life had just been a series of disasters. And I have to say I was lucky to meet Pat, as he explained to me that I was subconsciously repeating toxic patterns I learned in my childhood. Now, I didn't know I was doing this, as it was subconscious. So, if you think about it, if Pat hadn't told me this, I'd still be repeating those patterns, as how can we stop doing something that is harming us if we don't even know we are doing it? Pat O'Connor had to make me aware that I was repeating toxic patterns. And only by making me aware that I was doing this was I going to have a chance of being able to stop it. I now know that the first step to healing is awareness. If you are repeating toxic patterns that you learned in your childhood, then this channel will give you an awareness that this is what you're doing. And only then, when you are aware of this, can you stop doing it. This is why I set up this channel, because I know there must be people in the world who are having difficult lives, as they are not aware that they are repeating toxic patterns they learned in their difficult childhoods. If I can help make them aware that they are doing this, then there is hope that they will be able to stop doing it. So why does a toxic childhood follow us into our adult lives? Sadly, in a difficult childhood, we learn core beliefs about ourselves. But these beliefs are damaged. They are not the truth about who we are. I call these damaged core beliefs the 6 bad messages. And I have a playlist on this topic with lots of real-life examples to help you understand it easier. The other way a toxic childhood follows us into our adult lives is through a psychological concept called repetition compulsion. I also have playlists called Tales of Repetition Compulsion, which feature real-life examples of how repetition compulsion invades every area of our adult lives. And this video is a part of the playlist series and involves our relationships. Since repetition compulsion can be a difficult concept to understand, I feel the best way to explain it is to give examples, or tales, from our everyday lives, showing again how it invades every aspect of our lives. Each tale is centered around a specific life category, a specific bad message, and a character. So, in today's Tales of Repetition 20, the life category is relationships. The bad message is you are responsible for others, and the character is Jamie. Do you go through your life always feeling that it is your responsibility to keep your partner happy all the time? I felt like this for most of my life. But I managed to find a way to stop this bad message controlling how I approached my relationships. My 3 dogs, who I call the 3 wise tales, will show you how I did this at the end of this section. So, with relationships, where does this bad message, "you are responsible for others," come from? Children learn what they live, and they are subconsciously programmed to repeat in their adult lives what they learned as a child. What a child learns becomes their normal. It is what they are familiar with. And as adults, we are subconsciously programmed or compelled to gravitate to what feels normal for us, even if it hurts us. So, if a child grows up in a toxic or abusive environment, they will sadly naturally gravitate towards toxic and abusive situations in their adult lives. This is not the child's or the adult's fault. They are not to blame because they don't even know they are doing this. It's all done subconsciously. So sadly, if a child's experience was living in a toxic and maybe even an abusive environment, they are destined to recreate this environment in their adult lives. And this is the psychological concept called repetition compulsion. We are compelled or programmed to repeat in our adult lives what we learned as children. So, in this Tales of Repetition Compulsion 20, let's look at Jamie when he's a child, and let's see how he learns what I call the second bad message, which is he is responsible for others. We meet Jamie when he is 9 years old. One evening his parents are arguing in the kitchen. His mother is talking loudly, saying she can't cope anymore. And on hearing this, his father storms out of the house and slams the door behind him. Jamie sits on the stairs, listening. He's terrified and he feels helpless. After a few minutes, he walks quietly into the kitchen and sees his mother sitting at the table, crying. She looks at him and says, "Oh, Jamie, you're the only one who cares about me." Jamie climbs onto the chair beside her and he hugs her. He tells her it'll all be okay, and he wipes away her tears. She then holds him tightly and keeps saying how lucky she is to have him because he is such a good boy. After that night, Jamie starts watching his mother closely. If his mother looks tired or upset, he tries to behave perfectly so he won't make things worse. If she is crying, he sits with her and tries to comfort her. When he wants to go outside and play with his friends, he sometimes stays home instead because he worries she might feel lonely or sad without him. Jamie feels that he needs to take care of his mother, and he is only 9 years old. Without anyone explaining it to him, Jamie learns what I call the second bad message. You are responsible for others. Now, let's fast forward to Jamie as an adult. He's 32 and living with his partner. One evening, his partner comes home from work in a bad mood, in a rotten mood. His partner slams their bag down and says their day was awful. Jamie immediately feels tense. He starts asking what happened and offering suggestions as to how things might improve at his partner's job. His partner ends up becoming more irritated and shouts at Jamie that he doesn't understand the situation. So Jamie apologises, even though he hasn't done anything wrong. He offers to cook dinner, make tea, or watch whatever programme his partner wants to watch on television so his partner can relax. Later that night, his partner is still in a mood, quiet and distant, and Jamie lies awake worrying that he must have done something terribly wrong. The next day, Jamie buys his partner a beautiful gift on the way home from work, and he tells his partner he is sorry if he upset them. It's like this. His partner simply had a stressful day at work and didn't handle the stress properly. But Jamie feels personally responsible for his partner's emotions. Instead of recognising that his partner's bad mood belongs to his partner, Jamie automatically takes on the role he learned as a child, trying to manage, soothe and repair someone else's feelings so that everything will be okay again. So, nothing has changed for Jamie, has it? He is still consumed with feeling he is responsible for taking care of the people around him, even when he has done nothing to cause their distress. And this is repetition compulsion in action, where the past is replayed in the present, not because Jamie chooses it, but because the subconscious second bad message, "You are responsible for others," is still controlling his behaviour. This is what Jamie learned as a child. It became his normal. And until this is brought into Jamie's awareness, he will keep repeating what feels familiar to him, even when it hurts. And now, I'm going to hand you over to the three wise tales. These three beauties, they were a constant support to me when I was trying to break free from the control of the 6 bad messages and repetition compulsion. And they're still a constant support in my life. They're going to show you the 3 ways to break free from being under the control of these 2 forces. Hello, Petal. Hello, Blossie. And hello, Dottie. I am delighted you're here. Now, get to work.
Hello, my name is Petal, and I am the first of the 3 wise tales. Today we're going to show you the 3 ways to break free from the control of 2 toxic hidden forces. They are the 6 bad messages and repetition compulsion. Please see the videos suggested at the end for a more detailed explanation of these 2 forces. The 2 forces of the 6 bad messages and repetition compulsion go hand in hand. They feed into each other. When these 2 forces run our lives subconsciously, we are not in control. Our subconscious minds are in control. Therefore, we are not the top dog. We are just a cog trapped inside the toxic machinery of these 2 forces. So that's why the first way to heal is awareness. Now that you are here, look at it like this, listening to this, you are already becoming aware. And this is wonderful. Awareness means you start to look at your adult patterns, realizing now for the first time that you are forced to repeat your toxic and abusive childhood situations, and again knowing for the first time that it is not your fault that you do this, so you are not to blame yourself. Awareness means you start to control what you think about yourself. You get to decide what messages you tell yourself. Do you want to feed yourself bad messages, or do you want to feed yourself good messages? The moment you become aware that you are being controlled by these 2 toxic forces, they no longer control you. You control them as you have moved them from your subconscious mind to your conscious mind. And remember, we can control what is in our conscious mind. Awareness moves you out of being a helpless cog and starts to put you in the position of top dog. Awareness opens the door to making fantastic, conscious changes in your life, and these changes will at last stop you landing yourself in toxic and abusive situations. And now I'll hand you over to Blossie. He's going to explain to you the second way to break free from the control of these 2 toxic, sinister, hidden forces.
Hello, my name is Blossie, and I am the second of the 3 wise tales. I am very old, so these days I have a long white beard. But being very old doesn't just mean I have a hairy face. It also means I am very wise, and I am so happy to share this wisdom with you. Now let me tell you why the second way to heal is so important. Most people who grew up in toxic or abusive homes were never taught to trust their feelings or instincts. In fact, they were often taught the opposite. If they ever dared to speak up and give their opinion on something, or if they ever expressed how they felt about something, they were often told, "Oh, you're too sensitive," or "You're just imagining things," or "Oh, don't be so dramatic," Or, will you keep your opinions to yourself and don't make trouble? Over time, they learned to disconnect from their feelings and their instincts. And in doing this, they disconnected from their inner warning system. And that inner warning system, your feelings and your instincts, it is your natural defense system. When you don't trust your instincts, you can't protect yourself. And when you can't protect yourself, you will be easily exploited by toxic and abusive people. That's how repetition compulsion keeps you as a cog. You keep walking back into toxic relationships. You keep tolerating mistreatment. You keep overriding the feeling that says, this doesn't feel right. I should be away from this. But when you start to listen to your feelings and trust your instincts, everything changes. Your instincts sense danger before your thoughts even catch up. Trusting your feelings and your instincts means you start choosing safety. You start choosing yourself. You start saying no to toxic and abusive situations. And every time you listen to that inner voice, you step out of the machinery. You stop being a cog and you become the top dog. You become the boss of your life. Because top dogs protect themselves. Top dogs listen to their inner voices. Top dogs don't abandon themselves just to keep the peace. Top dogs protect themselves from toxic and abusive situations. So today, no more being a cog. Today, you start being the top dog. And now, let me hand you over to Dottie. She's going to tell you the third way to break free from the control of repetition compulsion and the 6 bad messages.
Hello, my name is Dottie, and I am the third of the 3 wise tales. I am the queen of the pack. I'm the entertainer. I keep everyone happy. So I am definitely the top dog in this house. Now listen closely, because this final step is powerful. The 6 bad messages didn't come from nowhere. They came from having to survive a tough childhood. And here's the truth. The 6 bad messages are not facts. They are lies you learned. So, the third way to heal is to nip and flip the bad messages. You catch a bad message, you nip it in the bud, you don't give it airtime, you don't entertain it. Then you flip it to the truth about yourself. You flip the bad message about yourself to a good message about yourself. So, you are not enough becomes I am enough exactly as I am. You are responsible for others, adults, becomes I am only responsible for myself. You are alone becomes no, I'm not alone. I matter and I belong and lots of people love me. Now, you might say, Dottie, that's so obvious. But it isn't obvious, as we are feeding ourselves these bad messages from our subconscious minds. Therefore, we don't even know we are doing this. But when we nip and flip, we bring the bad message into our awareness, into our conscious mind. And by doing this, we are in control. And we can now retrain our minds to believe the truth, to believe the good messages. So, every time you nip and flip, you take your power back, because top dogs choose their thoughts. Top dogs choose to feed themselves good messages about themselves. Top dogs choose to ignore the lying, nasty, bad messages. Top dogs are no longer cogs. So today, me, Petal, Blossie and Annette, we want to tell you this. You are not alone. You really do matter. And we are all here together learning to have better lives. We really care about you. And one last thing. The 3 wise tales, we have a very important good message to tell you. we want to tell you that we really, really woof you.